On this episode of Our Aging House, I'll be showing you this new side project we're doing where we're going to be putting a fence around part of our side yard, redoing this whole section, making it into more of an outdoor living space. Let's go over and take a look at the work they're doing. We had just this little divider that really separated our house from the next house, and what they're going to be doing is putting in a retaining wall and a whole fence that goes all the way up against the house with gates on either end. So we'll be taking a look at that progress as they work on it. So they're just starting to set the posts for the retaining wall right now and taking down the fence. And here we are with all the posts set. You can see that there are posts going all the way down. The area is about 9 by 50. But there's a couple of problems. Let me show you. What we have here is a sprinkler head, which isn't really a problem, except it's inside the area that's going to become this side yard. And so that's not really going to be a great place to have a sprinkler going. So what I'm going to do is try to dig it up. I think it basically goes along here, and that means I can dig it up, cap it here, and move it to some spot around this area where maybe we can then have the sprinkler set up for this side yard. May not really be necessary with the sprinkler that we have up here, but it'd probably be better to move it before making that call. So the head didn't run along the property line, which is actually the right way to do it. It has a run down the middle of the zone, and then it goes out from that either direction to the different heads, which makes sense. And so here's the line that comes over to this sprinkler head. What I'm going to do is cut it off far enough back that the retaining wall that's put in here should be out of the way, so I'll cut it off somewhere there. But I don't have a 1/2-inch PVC cap already, so I'm gonna have to run to the store and get one of those. And so that means that I'll have to come back and film this maybe tomorrow after I do all that work. So we've relocated the pipe. I've capped it off there with a little 1/2-inch cap. Real simple process. And by going a little bit further, we now have a piece that's long enough that if we wanted to relocate it outside the fence, we could easily do that, and that'll easily reach to the main line if we dig down to it. So now we just need to fill in the hole and move on to the next step. Here we are at week 2, and I have put down some pipe this way to protect the soaker hose that's running along this side of the house. And they've started putting down some block that will be the inside of the retaining wall. You won't be able to see it, so you don't need to use the pretty stone that they've got. What we're going to be having put on the outside is going to be what they call Oklahoma stone. So you can see some of it here. We'll walk back towards the pallet of material and show you some more of that. You can see they're going to be putting it around those poles, and there are these forms here. I guess if you can call them forms, more like guides for keeping the stone at a little bit of an angle on either side, just to make sure it narrows at the top, which makes it a little more stable, I guess. There's another piece of pipe I put in over on this side. This is around a piece of PVC that comes down to this end to feed all of the sprinklers on this end of the yard. And so that has another piece around it that will help protect it and provide a passageway, if you will, through the retaining wall, so that future Luke or whoever owns the house can replace that pipe without having to drill or do anything significant to the actual retaining wall. Provide a passageway. That's the same thing that we're doing on the other side with that soaker hose that I showed. At this end, you can see this is going to be the capstone for the retaining wall, and then we've got more of that Oklahoma stone, they call it, that kind of matches the color of the house, the brick that's on it, so it should hopefully tie together pretty well. Lots of sand here that I guess will be mixed with the mortar that they've got. Got a big pallet of mortar over here. Cement, white cement. So that's the beginning of week 2 for our side yard outdoor living space project. Probably should come up with a better name for it than that, but you will see more progress as we move along. After another day of stonework, you can see they've started on both sides of the wall. There's going to be a gap in between where they'll put the little chips and stuff that come off of the stone as they're working on it. And you can see there's a lot of stone here. The weather is raining just a little bit, kind of drizzly this morning, so don't know if they'll be out to make a lot of more progress today, but should see some progress through the rest of the week. So you can kind of see how it's progressing there. It's looking pretty good. After 3 days of working on it, you can see that the outer retaining wall is really starting to come together. The mortar, you can see, kind of matches the house pretty well, and the colors are a pretty close match, so it should look really nice when it's all done. It'll all fit together pretty well. There's this section in the middle that still has to get started, but you can see they're actually finishing up that top level of the stone, cutting the little pieces that fit in there that'll fit underneath the capstone. So you can really start to get a sense of what it's going to look like when it's all done. And after 4 days, there's even been more progress. You can see both sides have been put in, and it started to be filled in with mortar. While they have little chips of stone from the pieces they've cut and collections of mortar and things, that'll be used to help fill that void a little bit, so it'll be relatively solid. You can see they're still placing the stones there, but they've got a lot of it done. Pretty much this whole outer wall layer, except for this very end part. So saving this for last. I don't know why, but that's the way they do it. So that completes day 4. And here we are on the final day of construction for the retaining wall, and you can see they've got both sides of it done. They've started filling it in for a majority of it. You can see the drain pipes that are in there that will keep it dry. There's going to be another drain put behind there, kind of like a French drain, I guess, behind this wall to keep the water from building up behind it. But you can see the capstones are starting to go on. It's going to look really nice when it's done. You're starting to get a sense of what it'll really look like. And then on top of this, there will be a 6-foot fence, which is not the next step. I believe they'll have to level out the dirt inside before they start construction on the fence, but you're going to get a real good idea of what it's going to look like. There'll be a door here, or a gate to the fence going in both sides of this, so you're able to pass through, and it should look really nice. You can see it definitely will fit in with the colors of the house and the mortar, and really looking forward to it. So let's go to the final view after everything's done and cleaned up. Well, they didn't quite make it. They were working pretty late here on Saturday and got a lot done. Basically all the capstones and things placed. You can see there's a few little stones that were being used to hold up some of those capstones and keep them level while the mortar's set. Just wanted to show this side. So the inside's also got stone on it. Most of that will be covered when they level it out, but you get an idea of it. There'll be another gate on this end, but you can see it's looking real nice and matches the house pretty well. They've got to come back and do some acid washing on it to I guess kind of finish the stone up, kind of get it all nice and clean, and then they'll be cleaning out the yard a little bit. There's little bits and stuff, and so they wanted to come back when there was more light. They were here working pretty late, but they'll be back soon. And then the next step is going to be starting on the drain that'll be behind the wall, buried, so that any water that builds up in there will be able to drain out all of those little drain holes that they put in the wall. So that'll be our next step. So let's jump over to that. Yesterday was a flurry of activity. Not only did they do the fence, as you can see here, and it looks great, they also got the gate on and leveled out the dirt inside. There's actually a drain along here, along this lower edge down there where the drains come out of the retaining wall, and it looks really good. The gates have lots of supports there to prevent them from warping over time. The fence itself is still pretty fresh wood, so it's going to need to dry out a little bit before they stain it, so they won't be back to do that for a couple of weeks at least. I don't know if they're going to come and do the turf anytime soon, but the stonework has also been cleaned up, so it looks really nice along here. And you can see those little drains at the bottom that we'll have to keep clear, but overall it looks really good, and we'll be enjoying this. Even like it is, it's pretty nice to have a fenced in area on the side for privacy and hopefully some entertaining and just hanging out long term. But looks really good, and we'll be back with the next step soon. Well, here's a big change. Look at that. They've got the fence all stained, and look what's inside. Oh, the turf is down. So underneath the turf there is a couple inches of compacted, decomposed granite, which makes it really flat, really smooth, and a good surface to put that turf down. So right now it kind of looks weird because the lawn is kind of brown and gray, and in here is bright green, but during the summer and that kind of thing it won't look quite as opposed. And it's pretty flat. It's got just a little bit of a slope, but they've done a lot of work there. There is a little conduit here that you can see that's buried to come up over here in the middle, and that will provide a little electrical box here in the corner where then you can plug into, and the idea is maybe run string lights across the top of the fence going all the way around. But you can see that the fence is now stained and the turf is down, and it looks pretty good. We've been out here just a couple of times to stand around and enjoy it, and it's kind of nice, and it's all up around that tree, and it'll be really nice, much more usable than that dirt mound that was here before. And everything still looks really good as far as the retaining wall goes. It's holding up well. Haven't gotten a lot of rain, and I haven't come out here to try to look and see how the retaining wall handles the rain, but we'll have to do that sometime. Did adjust the downspout over here to move the little diverter so that it diverts it away from the house and wall a little bit more. We'll have to kind of see long term what we want to do on this side, and might need to put in some little step or something to get in there, but as it stands it's okay. So looking really good. So all that's left now is electrical, and that'll be the final piece to finish, and then it'll be done. And here it is, all finished. You can see the fence is stained, the wall is done, and the turf is down inside, which makes it really nice, keeps it really clean, very low maintenance. We've had an outlet installed here on the end of the house, so it's in a weather safe box, and then that'll allow us to run lights or any other sort of outdoor appliance that I guess we want to run. It is switched, so we can have those lights on a switch that are easy to control, and it'll be really good. You can see it's a 9 feet wide by 50 feet long, which makes it pretty good for outdoor entertaining or just coming out and sitting out here. We're going to get some furniture or something to make this space a little more usable, livable, but actually right now it's real nice just to come out here and be able to enjoy being outside. The fence is 6 feet tall above the retaining wall, which from the inside means it doesn't feel like it's a very high fence, but from the outside, because of that 2-foot retaining wall, it actually forms an 8-foot barrier on the outside, so makes it pretty nice. So let me show you what that looks like. So down here on the side, you can see that this is a 6-foot fence, but it's above a retaining wall. So when you're out here walking, it's a little more imposing and it feels very private. The board on board keeps anyone from being able to look in or out, but it does provide some privacy. And there's another gate down at this end. Makes it real easy to access from wherever, and if we open it up for entertaining or just, you know, weekends, it makes it really easy to move around. So we're really happy with how it turned out. Looks great, seems like it's going to be very functional, very low maintenance. Just need to kind of blow the leaves out every so often, maybe hose it down or something like that to kind of wash away some of the dirt, but should be pretty low maintenance. So yeah, anything you like about it? Do you have a space like this? Any tips you'd have for somebody wanting to put in something like this? Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, turn off the bell, because I'm not going to do a lot of videos like this, so you probably don't want to get notified, but I would appreciate the subscribers. So thanks, stay safe, stay cool, happy 2021, and have a good one.